Now, shifting focus over to the U.S. in a setback to United States President Donald Trump, former Trump lawyer Michael Cohen has been sentenced to 3 years in prison. Cohen is found guilty of hush money payments and lying to the U.S. Congress. Michael Cohen pleaded guilty to tax evasion and campaign finance violations. He also pleaded guilty to lying to the Congress about a proposed Trump Tower project in Russia. Cohen told U.S. District Judge William Pauley that his blind loyalty led him to cover up Trump's dirty deeds. The judge rejected arguments by Cohen's lawyers that he should be spared jail time because he cooperated in multiple federal investigations involving Trump. Cohen has been given a sentence of 36 months for the financial crimes and 2 months for his lies. Both the terms will run simultaneously. The judge has asked him to voluntarily surrender by March 6th. The sentence is a modest reduction from the 4 to 5 years that is recommended under federal guidelines. Cohen has also been asked to forfeit $500,000 and pay restitution of nearly $1.4 million. Now, Cohen was involved in hush money payoffs to porn star Stormy Daniels and Playboy model Karen McDougal. The two women had said that they had sexual affairs with President in the past. They were paid ahead of the November 2016 presidential elections so that they would keep quiet.
Is he talking about, Mr. President? Mr. President, did Michael Cohen cover up your...
To bring us more details on this news story, I'm joined in by our correspondent Giles Gibson, who joins me live from Washington. Giles, a very good morning to you. This is indeed a turning point for Trump at the moment, but let's look at this. My first question to you would be, what does Michael Cohen's prison sentence mean for Donald Trump, and will this ramp up pressure on the demand for Trump's impeachment?
Well, the feeling is that Michael Cohen's sentencing, and as you say, he's going to start that sentence on the 6th of March, so just in 2 or 3 months' time. The feeling is that this really wraps up this chapter of the Mueller investigation, and we got a sense of that actually from Michael Cohen as he left that court in the US. He said to reporters as he was walking out that he hoped that that would be the last time that he spoke with them. Really, we saw a very emotional Michael Cohen during his when he was speaking in that courtroom in New York City. He said he'd committed these offences out of blind loyalty to Donald Trump. However, that emotional tone that he struck really didn't hit home with the judge in that court, Judge William Pauley III. He said he completely excoriated Michael Cohen, saying that he had committed a smorgasbord of fraudulent conduct motivated by personal greed and ambition. And he also said, as a lawyer, Mr. Cohen should have known better.
All right. Giles, could Trump be indicted now? Could he be charged with a related crime once he leaves the White House?
Well, we heard from Representative Adam Schiff. He's a Democrat representative and a very strong critic of President Trump's over the weekend. He said, in his estimation, in his feeling, that President Trump most likely can't be indicted, can't be charged with anything while he is still sitting in the White House as the US president. However, Adam Schiff, a very influential figure here in Washington, did say that perhaps as soon as President Trump leaves office, that could be the day when he might face some sort of charges from US prosecutors.
All right. Giles, what could be the possible ammunition to undermine Cohen's credibility as a witness against Trump?
Well, as I was saying, the judge in this courtroom really completely excoriated Cohen's character. As I was saying, that he said that he'd committed a smorgasbord of fraudulent conduct, and he also said he was motivated by personal greed and ambition. So that's the sort of ammunition, if you like, that President Trump's supporters will use to defend the president, in the fact that he has now been linked, been implicated in these crimes that Michael Cohen has been found guilty of and now sentenced. We also heard from Rudy Giuliani, who's the president's personal attorney in his dealings with Robert Mueller, the special counsel who's investigating allegations of collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia. Rudy Giuliani very much defending the president, saying that Michael Cohen is a liar, as you say, and has absolutely nothing to do with the president anymore.
Right, Giles, on a last note, is the entire Michael Cohen a step forward to corroborating Donald Trump's, the allegations of Russia's interference in the 2016 elections to aid Donald Trump?
Well, the sense here in Washington is that Michael Cohen's involvement with the Robert Mueller probe, with the Mueller investigation, is going to be certainly very, very telling, because although he hasn't formally cooperated with the Mueller investigation, we did see them recommending to this court ahead of his sentencing that he had cooperated with them. And that's being seen as one reason why perhaps he didn't get the sentence that's usually recommended in this kind of a case, 4 to 5 years in prison. He got that slightly reduced sentence, as you were saying earlier on, of 3 years. The feeling here in Washington is now that Michael Cohen's sort of part in this investigation by Robert Mueller has wrapped up, that we are really now moving into the final stages of the Mueller investigation. Although he has a tendency to really take us by surprise, he keeps a very close-knit kind of group of prosecutors, and we never get any leaks coming out of the Mueller investigation. So really, they could be moving into the final stages, or they could not. So it's really very difficult to tell here in the US Capitol.
Absolutely, and very interesting to see how you mentioned that we could now be moving into the final stages of the Mueller investigation. Thank you so much, Giles Gibson, for bringing us all the latest from Washington, D.C.